We'll see if it burns off anything. Damn. God damn, son. Put a song in my head with that title. Is it that, can't remember the name of the band. It's a reason why I'm here. Bum, 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 bum. Everyone I know considers me a clown. Just rolled a J. Good timing. Hey. I probably need to do that too. It's probably on the agenda for the next 20 minutes or so. Get a J going.
Taking out the trash and our tree looked weird. It just like looked like it had a bunch of boils on it with like hardened sap.
Which tree? The one on the front?
Yeah, the one on the front. It's got like big bubbles of hardened sap sticking out everywhere.
Did they maybe they trimmed it?
Maybe. But it's like all in the trunk and everything. I don't know what would cause that in a little tree.
Oleander. Yeah. I can't love you anymore. You can't be. You need to stay in, bud. Too cold. Oh, it's too cold for everybody to just be sitting around out here willy-nilly. Sitting around out here willy-nilly like. Nice little Sunday Jane. Did a Neanderthal rabbit hole. Yeah, the Neanderthals were pretty smart.
You got a pokey here too.
Yeah, thank you. Just need one. Do a little poking of some stubborn nugs in the grinder. Sometimes these little stubborn nugs just want to hang out in your grinder 24/7. It's like, come on, bud. It's a one-way ticket. Stubborn little nugs.
You think it would help to like grease it?
Grease my grinder?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that grease just end up all over your weed?
Yeah. You'd have to like dry it out real good after, but it might need like a little
Oiling?
turd in or something.
Maybe. Probably just needs to be cleaned. Should go to Amsterdam. Why would I do that? People, like, can I tell you something? Amsterdam for weed would be like me driving to Japan to get a hamburger. You understand? You feel me? Going all the way to Amsterdam as a Californian for weed, that makes no sense.
Gotta have something else on offer.
Yeah, you're gonna have to put something else on the table to get me over there. And before you say it, I don't care about the red light district either. Not my thing. So what else you got? Windmills, waffles. Pass, you know? Will you go to China? I would love to go to China someday. I was watching this video of a dude, this Chongqing he lives in. It's like a mountainous town. He starts at his house and then he starts just like going down these stairs and around the corner, sidewalk goes down again. It's like such an elevated city. Just interesting. Didn't they make Amsterdam way less fun? Yeah, they did. They didn't ban everything, but they like made a bunch of rules, made it lame, made it stupid. Comprendre le français? Oui. Je comprends le français un petit peu. Un petit peu de français. A little bit. I love that in French. Like, that's one of my favorite things in French. A little bit is un petit peu. Un petit peu. I like things that sound cute in other languages. Trump or Harris? Man, I've been waiting my whole streaming career for somebody to ask me this question. It's almost like people just don't even care, you know? You're the first person. You're the first person to ask Trump or Harris of me ever. And now that I've been asked the question that I hoped someone would ask so many times, I don't know how to answer it. Didn't Trump say he was going to legalize weed? Isn't that the new duel?
Yeah, it's something to that effect.
So both of them are making the weed promise, hoping the stoners show up, tip the scales. Come on, stoners. This time we mean it. We're going to legalize weed. Oui, la politique est un sujet sensible. Mais oui. If you tried weed soda, it was pretty nice. Bro, shut up. Sorry, it's cool. I'll forgive you this time. Smoking on mids. They don't even make mids where I'm from, bro. I'm smoking on them tiptoe top shelves. Got legitimately pissed at a dude yesterday for the first time in years. Feels good, though. You haven't been legitimately angry at another person in years? That's nice. And then when it happened, it felt good, is what you're saying to me. That's what I'm reading. I'd say you're doing pretty good. Wow. All right. Fair enough, bud. Imagine you woke up with a buzz cut and a clean shave. What's happened? I would start looking for the culprit immediately. I would be hunting the culprit straight out, flat out. And I would be pissed. This is like a over decade long beard now. And This head of hair is from 2018, I think. 2017, something like that. You can't have it. That would be your Nikocado stream showing up nude-faced. Oh, dude, that would be crazy. If I shaved, but I just pre-recorded a bunch of these, and then all of a sudden one day I show up and I'm naked-faced, and everybody's commenting about it, and I'm just banning people for saying things, and then the next day I come back and I've got a full beard again. That would be very Nikocado. Very Nikocado. Dude, it doesn't surprise me at all that there was some shit going on with Nikocado behind the fat, behind the huge rolls of lard. There was something going on. There was a plan underneath all of that. He was weaving a plan. Throw some ribeyes on the grill. Why? It's hella early for that, dude. It's 9:22 in the morning. Like, a ribeye don't never sound good to me, and definitely not at 9:22 in the morning. He had to have gotten the surgery. People underestimate the ability of the human body to change massively, given, like, strict changes in diet and exercise. The dude started out as like a yoga instructor and a vegan, like a raw vegan. So I'm pretty sure he knows how to turn on that fucking, put it in that gear, you know? And he just did it. I don't think he planned it from the very beginning, only because doing that to your body for a quick own on the internet seems absurd. It was a little more than a quick own, though. If you take Nikocado Avocado at his word, it was a grand social experiment. You choose to believe TJ's doing a Nikocado thing? Yeah. He's just been putting like an AI in front of us for months, and when he shows up, he's going to be like a fucking champion bodybuilder or something. It's going to look like fucking Arnold. Now, Christian Bale is a dude that is willing to like wildly put on a bunch of weight. There's a number of actors who in the past have been willing to, like, Brad Pitt's another one. Like, Brad Pitt will put on weight for a role. Not like till he's blubbery and huge, but, you know. There's quite a few actors that are known for being willing to make pretty ridiculous changes to their body for a role. So, it's not shocking to me that Nikocado Avocado, with a huge social media following, kind of like took a page out of that book. Bale killed it as Dick Cheney. I don't know about that. I tried to watch that movie and I just couldn't fucking watch it. I hate Dick Cheney though, so. That's one of the things that I just think is like maybe even a generational problem, explaining to young Democratic voters and liberals and stuff like why a Dick Cheney endorsement is a real bad thing. You know what I mean? Because I feel like it's just all academic for those of you that look into it. You didn't live through Cheney. You didn't watch the Cheney era unfold. So it's a non-starter for me. Like snuggling up with Dick Cheney and the neocons and stuff. Bro, let me tell you what that means. That probably means that she's given some assurances to the Cheney family through little off-the-record conversations that she's planning on doing some regime change in Iran. That was a long-time dream of the Cheneys. Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, kind of like these, what was his name? Paul Wolfowitz. All of these guys were Straussian neoconservatives who believed that in order for America to remain in its position of hegemony, that we had to do a massive imperialist expansion of our sphere of influence, and the place that needed to happen in was the Middle East. The insane idea was to topple the despotic religious governments of a number of Islamic nations and replace them with an America-friendly democratic institution, right? Okay. That's the neoconservative dream. Now you've got literally the neoconservative in chief, Dick Cheney, and his daughter endorsing the Democrat. I will tell you guys that there's very little chance that endorsement came without some assurances that she plans on escalating the war with Iran, escalating the war in Lebanon, escalating the war in Gaza, and possibly escalating the war in Ukraine as well. That's what it means to me when a Cheney gives his endorsement. Okay? And there's no amount of hemming and hawing and cajoling and vote shaming and shit that's going to change that. Like, no amount of snarky argument out of you is going to unring the Cheney bell for me. I lived through the Cheney years. So that plus genocide plus border fascism equals a non-starter for me. I'm sorry, I'm a leftist. I don't vote for that. I don't support it. I don't pretend to support it. I don't support it out of fear that the alternative might be worse. It just doesn't work. I just don't get the neocon obsession with the Middle East. You don't? So I'll explain to you what it is, right? The Middle East is a great kind of like expansionist battleground between Russia, China, and the United States. So we broke the backs of the Soviet Union. The USSR no longer exists, largely due to the fact that we poured millions and millions of dollars of secret weapons shipments and trainings to the people of Afghanistan. So geopolitically speaking, the Middle East was the anvil against which American hegemony broke one of its longest and most dangerous enemies, right? In the mind of an American nationalist. That area of the world is strategically unbelievably important, right? Has a huge, huge supply of the global oil supply, right? And and even more so, its strategic positioning as a hedge against Chinese expansion, Russian expansion, right? So that is the thought process. We get there, we contain these countries within their own borders. We stop their expansionist, colonialist plans by instituting ours with the might of our military, right? That is the idea behind neoconservatism. That is the idea behind the neoconservative drive to go through with regime change all over the world, right? How old am I? Old's the fucking hills, dude. I'm 9,000 years old. Okay. Skibbities are good this morning. I gotta keep you fucking wrenches on your toes, you know. I can't just let you guys hide behind the fucking monkey button every day. Sometimes the skibbities just have to be managed. That made more sense when we didn't have as many alternatives to oil. Now, though, why? It's not just the oil. The oil is a strategic objective, but it is not the main strategic objective, right? The main strategic objective is positioning. We get a bunch of friendly American kind of backed democracies in place of the Islamic republics and shit in the Middle East. And we get just yet another hedge against China and Russia and their expansionist ideas, right? If we've got countries that are functionally just arms of the American military spread all over the Middle East, right? That's the idea. They used to preach these ideas, right, in the lead up to the kind of invasion of Iraq, is when we started hearing about these ideas of a wave of regime change, right? We liberate one people from a dictator, and then that revolution will spread beyond the borders of that country. And it'll be open season on all the dictators. And the people will receive America and its soldiery as liberators. This was all just like they would go on fucking 60 Minutes and say this shit. Right? Most people, I think, in the United States at this point knew it was bullshit. It turned out to be bullshit. America is the UN. You need to start getting your head wrapped around this. These organizations in which America is a member state, we run them all. The IAEA, the UN, NATO, all of these strategic alliances, right? You may as well just read into them. This is an international governmental body by which the United States codifies its wishes. That is what they are. The idea of the member states or client states of these places being able to challenge the direct authority of America ever is silly and non-existent. Okay? Hope you never have to care about any election cycle again in your life. Hey, thanks, bud. I hope so too. There's also money in these things. If things change, and the billionaires wouldn't be nearly as profitable for them, right? That's why America still gets its way, even if it's the only country to vote for or against something, right? How long do you think Ukraine will be in hock to the U.S.? Probably a long fucking time. I would imagine a good 100 years. Yeah, they're a little American colony of ours now, so we lent them a lot of weapons to lose that war with. They owe us. They owe us dearly. By the way, just so you know, because you're an autodidact like me, in hoc, N-H-O-C-K, not H-A-W-K. Hawk. So this is an old word. You used to hawk something at the, what do they call those? Like if you were in hoc, I'm trying to think of the name. Oh, those, fuck. The guy that fucking, the place you take to sell shit, you can buy people's shit, or you can, oh, pawn shop. There we go. So that was like being in hoc meant you put something up of yours for some money, basically, right? So that means you're in hoc to the pawn guy. Yeah. H-O-C-K doesn't even really sound like, looking at it, it doesn't even look like a word. I don't, I think it's more like a ham hock, right? You probably heard that. Where are our best and brightest eating us? Where do you think our best and brightest are? Do you think that they're running these big companies and stuff? So do you think that billionaire equals best and brightest? Because if you do, you're ignoring the amazing force of nepotism. I would say we are being eaten by those that are not our best and not our brightest at the expense of our best and brightest, right? I think our best and brightest are broke and unknown right now. That's what I think. I think our best and brightest are among the working class. And I think that they are being routinely suppressed by Nepo babies. People that were given their money or inherited their money or have their money by proxy, right? And the idea that having a lot of money equals brilliant guy or brilliant girl is challenged every second of every day. So I would say that our best and brightest are being snuffed out by Nepo babies and oligarchs and old money. Being a smart, poor person is so sad. I mean, look at the movies that have come out about that, though. Good Will Hunting. What's that other one? School Ties. There's like this, like a whole like subgenre of drama films about a kid that is like, it's usually a man who's incandescently brilliant, but broke. Right? I think part of both sides of this coin love that movie. I think rich people love to watch it and go, oh, look, that's me before I came into my fortune. And I think broke people like to watch it and go, oh, look, that's me any second now. Imagine being bitter towards rich people because your dumb ma doesn't want to learn the game. Dude, I bet that dude is broke as a joke too. Dude, let me guess. Are you paying $15 a month to Hustlers Academy, bro? Are you on that Hustlers U, dude? Be honest, dude. Was that a Hustlers U line that you pulled out of the fucking secret Hustlers U Discord, dude? Dude, that was some, I ain't never heard something so Hustlers U in my life, bro. Imagine being a brokey that just doesn't want to learn the game. All right, Andrew Tate. Tell us how to do it, bro. Imagine you're a brokey that doesn't want to learn the game, says a fucking 15-year-old kid, dude. Unfortunate. Do a backflip? I'll watch you do a backflip as you get fucking kachawed right out of here, bro. Manage your finances better, right? Oh. Paul would be mad about getting called 15 at 15. Hell yeah, I would have. There's this crazy thing on the internet back in the day where if people found out you were 15, you pretty much lost the argument, as well you should, typically. And so I would use the fact that I had a deeper voice and I was well-spoken and well-read, worldly for a 15-year-old, to insinuate myself into adult situations constantly. So it's actually true. Well, there's a lot of these fucking goofies that have been led astray. Like they look at a dude that's like physically attractive and he's got money, right? And one of the ways, like one of the things about money is when you have enough of it, money breeds money, breeds money, breeds money. It's like all of a sudden you're just having money is how you make your money, right? So your money goes into certain types of accounts and mutual funds and investment banks, and it fucks and it creates more money, right? So now you've reached a certain level of wealth where your money just makes money. And one of the ways that rich people have figured out to do that, if you want to make your money make money, is you put your money on display in front of poor people and you sell them the dream of, you can be rich just like me. Here are the 10 steps to wealth, right? And this is the most boomer idea. If you guys had lived my life, you would understand how boomerish this idea is, right? Hi, my name is Tony Flockflick, and I'm a billionaire. I bought my first house in 1982, and now I own over 10,000 residences all over the globe. And you can have your piece of this pie. All you have to do is 3 easy payments of $39.99, and I will send you my tapes. Guaranteed success. You know what I mean? That type of shit that, literal boomers were getting sucked out, right? They're getting their wallets fucking opened and vacuumed out by that shit, right? And then, like, you'd think, okay, well, those fucking guys, their grift is dead now because people are too savvy. Nope, along comes Tate. Along comes Tate and shows you that grift never dies, that this just one generation or 2 generations later, the children of today are completely unannealed towards that sort of grifting. They see a rich dude driving a fast car with a hot bitch, and he goes, give me $15 a month, and I'll make you like me. And they sit there in their sour sweat smelling balls playing World of Warcraft and trolling around the Hustlers U Discord, right? It's the same thing. The same grift. And that is just one of the many ways that rich people use to make their money make money. It's not just Andrew Tate. It's just, you know, the manosphere, this like, take control of your life, learn how to flex like a Sigma, you know, blah, 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 get in shape, get this, get the car, get the bitch, get the power, get the money. It's the oldest grift ever. I mean, it's kind of hard to find, but if you look back in like the 30s and the 40s, right, at magazine ads, have you guys ever heard of the term 98-pound weakling? Have you ever heard that term? It's an old term from like the 30s and the 40s where there was this kind of like caricature. It was almost like a Wojak, right? He was this meme from the 30s, and he was known as the 98-pound weakling. It was basically like the Chad versus the Cuck, right? So what would happen is the 98-pound weakling would be laying on the beach with his hot girlfriend, right? And then a real ectomorphic Chad with a big square jaw and a ripped body would come along, kick sand in his face, and the girl would fall in love with the hot guy, and the 98-pound weakling would be sitting there, sad Wojak, crying apustaya, right? You see what I mean? And what do you think those ads were selling? Be like Jack LaLanne, be like this guy, be like that guy. Buy our booklet for a 10-week program to go from being the 98-pound beta cuck to the 130-pound Chad. Right? So it's just like, it's sad to me, having knowledge of those types of things, to see that young people are still so susceptible to it. Like, you would think that that grift being so old, and that their parents, having seen it, their parents would anneal them against it. But it really doesn't happen that way. Yep, time is a flat circle. It's true. Everything that has happened will happen again. Unfortunately, there is no perfect way to run society, so these things will probably always crop up. Yeah. Let's just throw our hands up and go, oh, well. Thing is, they're kids and very self-conscious, so they're an easy mark. Yeah. If only kids had this, let me just theorize. I know this is wild, because you're absolutely right. When you're young, you're very emotionally compromised, got a lot of, you know, hormones and emotions, and your brain isn't quite fully developed yet. So you got all these problems that you have to deal with. And if only children at that age had some sort of like guardian, like an older person that had been through that shit before, who could recognize it and help that kid learn from their mistakes by sharing their own mistakes, right? You see what I mean? If only that kind of arrangement existed somewhere in society that we could point our fingers at and blame when whole generations of children are so retarded that they steal their mom's credit card to sign up for Hustlers University. Like parenting, that'd be a good name for it. Yeah. That would be a good name for it. A parent, some sort of guardian, you know, that when there was a kid that was just like absolutely behind every other kid, we could really like start the investigation with that guardian and say like, what have you been doing? You know what I mean? And that'd be crazy, you know? Just like thinking out loud, you know? As a parent, my experience, girls are a lot easier than boys. I've heard that, but then I've heard the opposite from people too. I've heard that like boys are a fucking like you know what I hear this from? Dudes. I hear from women that boys are easy as fuck and girls are horrifying. I hear from men, girls are easy as fuck and boys are horrifying. Parental authoritarianism isn't the answer, it's culture. What do you think culture, like, what do you think so let's look at culture like a spore floating in the wind, right? What is the soil in which culture germinates? Like, where is that culture going to grow? What makes up the matter which a little spark of culture is looking to influence a wider culture, right? What is a mushroom looking for, right? See, I have a whole perspective on the whole girls and boys thing because, you know, I've never had kids, but like I was raised in a household where I was the only boy. I had 5 sisters. And I will tell you, like, from my perspective, if, you know, I allowed my bias to judge the rest of the world, I would just say that, like, little girls are fucking evil. They're just like, that's how I would say it, right? But I understand that my personal experience, notwithstanding, you know, setting that aside, that may not always be true, but it, you know, from my perspective, I was the only son with 4 sisters, tend to agree. Maybe it's just because we're outnumbered. Well, that's what I've come to learn is that yes, me being outnumbered in that household and the relative closeness and age of the sisters that I lived with in the household caused a like a team up, right? The girls in the house versus poor me, right? And so of course my thought process on them is going to be they're evil, right? Do you love your sisters? Oh yeah. Yeah, I love my sisters. I don't know, me and my brothers broke each other's bones. See, I can't speak to that, right? Never had a brother. I watch TJ and Scotty sometimes, and I'm like, how did these fucking guys like not kill each other at some point? You know, but from what I hear, that's pretty typical amongst brothers, especially close in age brothers, you know. You're gonna get in some dust ups. You're gonna get in a punch up once in a while. I never like but see that's the thing is like I look at my childhood and it was filled with like one-way punch ups. I was never allowed to hit back. Now they technically were not allowed to hit me, but when they did, it was a slap on the wrist. Dude, if I would have hauled off and punched one of them, slapped one of them, it'd have been game over for me. You know, typically under the typical circumstance. I always bullied my brother. Now we're homies. Paul. Thanks for the $5, dude. That's cool. Audible merriment. Paul, Paul, Paul. I like that one. I like that. That's the best super chat I've gotten in a long time, dude. Paul. Yes. Yes. Paul, you ever got bullied? Yeah. Yeah, I had some bullies. Thanks, Vitali. What a nice guy. Look at that sticker guy, too. He's like a hippo with a fucking hat on, and he flips it around back and throws up the thumbs up. Hell yeah. I didn't even know you could do shit like that. That's cool. Thanks for the $9 or the $10, bud. Yeah, like a 90s hippo guy. Yeah. That's pretty cool. As all siblings fight, we get that not all kids are same. It's cool. I think sometimes I'm just talking past people. I think to be honest with you, and I think that's on me. I think a lot of times when I'm having conversations about broad things, and I think people can take the things that I say very narrowly sometimes. And I don't put that on them, I put that on me. That's a communication error, right? On my part, probably. You have your daughter in martial arts. She's under 5. That's cool. I did karate when I was young. Like when I was, I must have been like 6, 7, 8, right around in there. My parents had me in karate back in the 80s. And so I found it to be kind of fun. And it did help me out in school a little bit. I never really got good enough at karate to where I would do a bunch of karate in school, but it did help me defend myself a little bit. And, you know, I got in punch-ups and stuff as a kid. Not all the time. I wasn't like a fighting kid. And I was very rarely the one that started it. But it was just kind of part of life back then. You know, if you were a boy in school, unless you were really reclusive and you kind of stayed away from everybody, you were going to get in a fight. Every once in a blue moon, a fight was going to happen. And, you know, how you dealt with that fight really didn't matter. Like, the long-term repercussions of a lost fight were not what a lot of people think they would be. You know what I mean? It was almost like a G-check kind of, or testing your gangster kind of thing. Where it's like, if you stand your ground and you take your lumps and stuff, there's a certain amount of respect and deferment the next time that they would do that to you, right? And, you know, in the case of, you know, a couple of times I can think of, somebody steps up to you and they think they've got you and they don't. Right? And then they're not coming back at you again, right? Like, it just seemed to be, for me, and maybe it's just because I'm so remote from it now, but I never really thought of bullies as a huge problem. Like, I don't remember being like scared to go to school because of a bully, even though I had them. You know what I mean? It was just like, if I got to deal with this fucking shit, I'll deal with it. And I think that made me a bad target for bully. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to bully me to the point of physicality or whatever, I'm going to put my fists up and we're going to go. And if you want to talk shit, I'm better at it than you, right? So you lose that. I've told the story of how I shut down one of my bullies in middle school by, you know, just being really mean about something that I knew about, right? And his choice was, you know, stomp me right there and see if that recovers anything, or just fucking walk away and leave me the fuck alone in the future. And he went with option 2. I really do, you know, I've talked about this whole like bullying thing before, and I don't know how out of date this information is, but I feel like it's probably still pretty in date. There are 2 types of kids that get bullied, right? There are kids that get bullied once or twice, get in a fight, stand up for themselves in some way, and then pretty much just get left alone by bullies after that. And they might have to deal with that, you know, over the course of like their grade school, middle school, high school education 2 or 3 times. And that's just how it works out. And that bullying is not a big factor in that child's life. And then there are children who either cannot or will not defend themselves in any way, right? The children with social problems, anxiety problems, developmental problems, you know, these types of things, right? And those are the types of kids that typically get the bullies every fucking day, constantly, because they just can't fight back. The thing about bullying that you'll understand is that the soul of every bully is a coward, right? And I say this as a person who has bullied people in the past too, and maybe even not so distant past, right? But really, at the soul of every bully is a coward. It's like a check, right? Are you going to defend yourself, or are you going to just sit there like a little bitch and take it, right? And if your answer is, no, I'm not going to take it, I'm going to defend myself, a bully starts to consider you differently, right? And so those kids that are never going to throw a blow, or if they do, it's going to be hilariously like ineffective, who can't have that witty comeback, the snappy comeback, those are going to be the kids that get shit on, right? Always. And it's not always the fat kid. It's not always the short kid, right? I was both of those things pretty much, you know. I was a fat, short kid in middle school, you know. If you were to just take a look at me from afar, you'd go like, damn, bully central. But it really wasn't that way, dude. Because I had a mouth on me and I'd put my hands up if I needed to. That just wasn't easy pickings for a bully, and so it just didn't end up happening as much, you know, as maybe it would have if I had been more of a strong survive. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of sad that it is that way, and it really is an indication of how inadequate our school system is in socializing children. Because, you know, back in my day, those kids should never have been out in the general pop. I mean, teachers had to know that these kids were getting bullied 24/7, 365. Some alternate program should have existed for these types of kids, not to take them completely out of school and put them in their own special thing. I don't believe that that helps, but some sort of psychological program to help these kids build up a little fucking self-esteem, right? That clearly needed to happen because they were just drowning. You know, and I didn't have to deal with that. I was quick-witted, so I was smarter than most of my bullies, or if not smarter, like quicker to come up with something funny and shit in the moment than my bullies were. And I wasn't easy pickings in a fight because I didn't fear it. You know, it wasn't something that like, ooh, you know, if it came down to it, I put my hands up. I'll put my hands on you. So I think that those two things kind of kept me pretty fucking chill through most of my school, even though I was a little fat kid for most of that, you know. No, maybe not most of it, for a lot of it. Growing up in a predominantly Hispanic community, I was always bullied for being the güero. So that term güero, right, is a way that Hispanic people will semi-covertly refer to a white person in their presence a lot of time, right? The thing with me was when it came, because I grew up in a predominantly Hispanic area, and in fact, predominantly English second language area, right? Most of the Hispanic people that I knew, and they were numerous, spoke Spanish. And so the term güero, it's like what I found, maybe my experience is different. You know, different people, different experiences, right? But my experience with the Hispanic community was they appreciate a person who can roll with the punches, right? My experience with the Hispanic community was it's very much like, okay, we had a thing back in the day called capping on each other, right? Today, capping means lying to each other. Back in the fucking 80s and early 90s, capping meant like you were like roasting another person, right? And there was a very like well-defined culture of that amongst the male Hispanic people that I knew growing up. And as a result of that, I was just good at that. And so I had a lot of Hispanic friends. You know, did I get called güero? Yeah, sometimes. Did I have a comeback to that? Yeah, most of the time. You know, it's I never really got the racial bullying shit. It just didn't happen to me. Güera is white girl, yeah. Older Mexicans love their slurs and have a roast culture for sure. Yeah. Once it was like, you know, like I just never had trouble making friends, and the racial subgroup didn't matter. You know what I mean? And so like I had like during the time when I was probably most susceptible to bullying, probably like 6th grade through 8th grade through freshman year-ish, most of my friends were Hispanic. You know? Well, see, I can't really speak for but I've seen it. Yeah, Hispanic women roast each other pretty fucking hard too. Yeah, I graduated in '98 as well, and we had lots of racists. So I don't know where you grew up. I had to learn to stand up for myself, though. Honestly, I usually started physical altercations after weeks of taunting. Yeah, I mean that's one way to deal with it. I was not really one to do that, but the taunting, like I would taunt them right back. I would invite them to be the ones to start it. Or, and this was more typical, just leave me the fuck alone. Paul's a hard target. Like one of the anyway, just funny. Huge respect for that tough love. Well, I mean, like, I don't know, man. I'm right on that cusp of that shit, right? Because it's like, you'll hear some boomer shit out of me sometimes. Like, sometimes I do think kids need to fucking, like, learn to deal with problems on their own so that they're not cowering away from those problems. And that can be like a thicker skin, you know, needed to do that. That can be kind of like a little bit of a tough love type of an upbringing. But I also think that there's a lot to be said for, you know, a sensitive and attentive upbringing and stuff. I know that not everybody is very naturally capable at those sorts of things, and asking everybody to fit one mold is always a bad idea, right? So I just don't know, man. I'm not a parent, so I really don't have to ponder that mystery too hard. favorite horror movie of 24, The Substance. The Substance. Not only my favorite horror movie of 2024, the best movie I saw this year. What set do I bang? Dance to this shit if you gang bang. I don't even care if we bang the same. Diddy clause? What the fuck? I don't have no booty oil at all. And I'm way younger than Santa Claus. Damn, son. I got no collection of coconut booty oils. How do I look like Diddy? Man, fuck these trolls. Man, people be trolling too much. I know. I love me some trolls, though. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, dude. But that, you know, I am myself a fucking lifelong trolls. I've been a troll since before the term troll was used in the way it, you know. I've been trolling. I was an analog troll, bro. Pre-internet trolling. Yes, sir. 8 years old, straight up telling truckers as they passed through my town that I was fucking their wives. Getting them all hot over the CB radio. Getting them all pissed. You little motherfucker. Say less, homie. It's gas. We don't deal with that strange shit. We ain't no skibbities. What do you want me to say? Like it's purple chocolate Urkel, Nurple? Let me tell you what it is, bro. California gas. And that's all you need to know. West Coast clown. Bro, you better, I tell you what, bro. Let me tell you a little something, bro. I don't know how to take that as a lifelong Cali kid. But let me tell you a little something. No, unban him. Unban Danny. Because I want Danny to hear this. I want Danny to hear the truth. Unban his ass. Put Danny back in the room. Hey, Danny. You say something about the West Coast, right? You got all the leeway, dude. It's America, bro. You say whatever the fuck you want. But I guarantee you land in LA, you're going to be whispering that shit. Oh, bring that O-block shit and run your mouth down in LA about it and see how long it takes before you get wet up. We don't fuck around here in Cali. They call it Killa Cali for a reason, motherfucker. We invented the set you bang. What set you bang? What set you bang? Is it blood or is it Crip? We invented your set. Where's your mother's set? Cali. Cali. Uh-oh. You better check in, homie. I'm going to let you know right now, boy. You better check in. You ever come to Cali, you better stay down in South Carolina, whispering. Psst, psst, psst. Cali soft, Cali soft. Blood kills. Your set began not fucking 100 miles from where I'm sitting right now. Don't talk to me. From South Carolina? Country ass, yokel ass bullshit. You better stay whispering, and you better check in if you ever come to Cali. Now ban him. California soft. West Coast soul. West Coast. Your ass over there in fucking South Carolina, bitch. Banging a blood set in South Carolina. Shut the fuck up. Talking to a Cali native. Can't even talk to me. Can't even stand in my presence. Psst. Punk ass, whack ass motherfuckers don't even know how it is. You're right, Paul. We need America to divide into separate nations like the UN. Yeah, it's true. I don't even care what happens to America. Just like Cali. Let us cut the chain. New York. Don't nobody care. Don't nobody want to see it. Whack ass New York. Yeah, collects it, dude. Time for the collects it. Here we go. Can Oregon and Washington be a part of New Cali if they want to? You know how they be, though? They emulate California even as they talk shit about it. You ever talk to an Oregonian? They got this big smug attitude about them when they're just like Cali light. You know what I mean? Oh, California sucks, man. I'm so proud to be Oregonian. And then Washington's got their own fucking little smugness about them. So, you know, yeah, if they want to come along, we'll take them. More coast, you know. Arizona, though? I don't know. We want Arizona. What does it got? What are you offering up, bro? A bunch of desert? Arizona got some rich copper mines. Oh, yeah? All right, you're selling me. What's the smugness of Arizona? Arizona doesn't really have it, but, you know, my experience with Arizona is a couple fucking decades old now, so maybe it's changed. The Arizona smugness seems to be kind of just supplanted by the fact that everybody in Arizona is a transplant. It's like transplant state. Native Arizonan is kind of like a joke in Arizona. So it's like a mixture of people from all over the fucking place. Dude, poor Midnight Ghoul. I'll just do it. I'll just do it. I've been having fun sparring with some of the dum-dums today, but it's just like, fuck, dude. Give me that subscription, bro. You want to talk your booty bullshit? Give me that sub. Punk ass bitch. Give me that sub and wait in line outside the club. You abused your privileges. Your Second Amendment got checked at the door, bro. Along with your First and your Fifth. You have no right to remain silent. You have no freedom of speech, and you have no right to bear arms. I am the only one that arms people here. You just stepped in to a functional monarchy. Welcome. I'm King Paul. You better show your fucking respect. Yeah, algorithm fuel, indeed. Yeah, they do love to help out. Any interesting TV shows? Yeah, so Amelia and I just started watching Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Good evening. It's time for another one of our little plays. And they're just fantastic. I love episodic. It's like episodic suspense stories in the style of Hitchcock, introduced by Hitchcock. I used to watch it when I was a little kid. They used to show a lot of reruns of it and whatnot. And it's been a lot of fun. So we're going and doing that. Dude, Hitchcock he was a like a horrible person. Like, by all accounts, not a great guy, but brilliant. You know what I mean? Dude, Amelia said he's so saucy about Hitchcock because he always is. He's always saucy. And I was like, dude, that's the perfect word for Hitchcock. He really is saucy. Name one genius that ain't crazy. True that. Crazy equals genius. Genius equals crazy. Popping the fingers. Dude, I'm so glad I didn't listen to those idiots back in the day that were like, that's going to give you arthritis. It doesn't. It's a completely harmless thing to do. Put on a pirate hat and watch Joker 2. Oof. Hey, at least you plundered that worthless booty and didn't pay for it. I just don't think that, like, YouTube, I really honestly don't think that the parent company, Alphabet, right, Google, wants to do anything with YouTube. I think its idea with YouTube is maintain it, but don't really do much to improve it. I think if they wanted to pour a couple fucking $1 billion into YouTube as a platform, they could create, you know, another one of these subscription services that would rival Netflix, right? They've already, like, so I have YouTube Premium because fuck watching an ad every 10 seconds. That's retarded, right? And it comes with a gang of free movies, free TV shows and stuff. Like when you're signed up for that, with no ads, all of that shit, right? Oh, thank you, baby. I didn't. Okay. Thank you, baby doll. I'll take my fucking...
Get you some more coffee?
I actually just freshened it up not that long ago, so I'm good. Thank you, baby, though. If you know, you know. You done your stretches? I constantly do my stretches. I do my stretches constantly.
Donner was limping to come outside, and then as soon as he was actually out here, he's like, you know, it's pretty cold.
Yeah, this is fucking bullshit. I was just telling him how we're watching the saucy legend himself recently.
Yeah.
That was the word you chose for him. Yeah. So saucy. He is very saucy. Good evening.
Like, I know he was known to be a prankster, but I don't think he was ever accused of anything more cruel than pranks and shit.
Well, the pranks that he did were kind of cruel in and of themselves. And like his treatment, like the kind of like disdain that he had for actors was pretty well known.
I don't think it matched Kubrick though.
No, but it was different. He saw them as like playthings. Like you even see, like he's a stage person. He came from the stage tradition and then silent films. And so like he even calls the shows our little play, tonight's little play. And like so he sees it as the whole thing. Like the production of it was part of the play in his mind. And it led him to just do some pretty cruel things to people. Not like sexually. He wasn't known as like a, you know, like one of those dudes that was going to be like taking any more advantage of that than was typical at the time. But he was just kind of like a cruel prankster.
He's also a little off too. Like, apparently as a kid, he like memorized all the stops on this train, and so for every scene, he'd like whisper under his breath what that number corresponded to as a train stop.
That's a little bit of like OCD, probably. A little
Oh, no.
complex OCD or something. Yeah. Little ritualistic things like that. But he was one of those people. It's like the reason I love Hitchcock is that the fun that he had, even if it was at the expense of others, shines in whatever work he's making, right? And he had this really fundamentally amazing ability to stage things. Like if you want to see what I think is like a master class in staging, watch Rope. Rope is basically a video play, and it is directed and shot like a play.
It's trying to be as continuous as is possible.
Right.
Like the film reels weren't long enough to do it as one shot, but they tried to keep it
Yeah.
continuous. Like
There-
they
there are-
put things in front of the camera, like they had to switch from one roll to
Right.
the next.
The idea was, to the best of their ability, to keep it one contiguous shot. And when they had to do that, to lessen the harshness of a typical transition. The idea was to give the audience the feeling that they were experiencing this event, this murder, and the cover-up of this murder, and the subsequent solving of this murder in one continuous, unbroken, no skips, no movie magic, no tricks, time stream. And Rope, and to the same extent, I think, Rear Window, reveal the brilliance of Alfred Hitchcock and just how rooted in the tradition of stagecraft that he was, and how that could still to this day. This is one of the things I think about all the time. You know, I'm a movie buff, and every movie buff wants to make a movie. I just feel that way, right? Or at the very least thinks about it sometimes. And for me, I never think about making some grand, sweeping, multi-shot, edited, high special effects, high budget thing. I think about making a chamber film, a movie that takes place on one set in one contiguous time stream, right? And that's very play, right? That is something that you can do with a play very easily. But with a movie, it takes a lot of fucking deliberate action to create that kind of feeling that the audience is experiencing a series of unbroken moments. I love that about Hitchcock. And he took great joy in making that illusion happen. And you can really see it in those two movies, I think. I mean, there's a million Hitchcock movies.
He really didn't work with plays ever.
No, well, I mean, I'm saying he's steeped in the tradition of that. Silent films were like them figuring out how to take a play and put it in the movies.
Yeah. Do you know what his first role in the industry was?
No.
He was drawing title cards.
I drew title cards for a number of years when I started. His transatlantic accent is
Yeah.
crazy, too, because he's just an American dude.
Yeah. No, he's English.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, he has the British transatlantic.
Yeah. No, he was born in London.
Alfred Hitchcock. Good evening. I don't really know anything about him personally. I know a lot about his movies and his style of making movies. But yeah, I've never really looked into Hitchcock's like personal life all that much.
I don't know. Do you think that'd be a more fun episode than what we're thinking about?
You know, I mean, it's just another episode, right? Yeah. I think we do both.
Yeah.
Good evening. Wah, 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 wah. The women who acted in his movies all hate him, yes. And not necessarily because he was a sex pest or anything, but because he did not give a fuck. He was mean. He did not acquiesce to the kind of prima donna nature of both male and female actors and actresses at the time, right? He had a vision. The vision would be accomplished. The comfort of the actors on set was secondary or third concern. He worked long days and expected long days. He expected punctuality, right? These are all things I know about Hitchcock.
He also came from a very, like, blue-collar background. Like, his parents, like, ran a little fish and chip shop.
I didn't know that.
And were greengrocers and shit.
That makes sense, though. I'm fat because I'm addicted to fish and chips. My family sold fish and chips.
I think I read something about, like, his first, like, attempt at weight loss. He, in one of his movies, there was an ad for a weight loss drug.
Yeah.
With a picture of him before and after.
I lost 15 pounds on sublimate.
No, like, he didn't use... It was like a made-up weight
Oh.
loss drug in the movie, but he used himself
Oh,
as
that's
before
cute.
and after pictures.
That's funny. Well, as a performer, right, I was trained as a stage performer. And the reason that I say that Hitchcock had a stage performer mindset, and a stage mindset, because of his time spent in silent films and because of how he ran his film career and how he was known as a director. He was roundly disliked by most of the people he worked with. His sets were nightmarish. The hours were cruel and nightmarish. And he himself had this vision that was not going to be compromised. So he was not a very transigent director, not an actor's director, as they call him. Certain people really loved working with him and worked with him multiple times, Jimmy Stewart being one of them. But yeah, the leading ladies in his movies, I think women in the movie industry and at the top end of that, right, were probably used to being treated with a certain amount of ladylike deference in every little thing. Oh, ma'am, could we do another take on that, please? Or do you need a refreshment? Right? And he was just not going to do that. Shut your mouth and do the line, you stupid cow. You know what I mean? Like, that's basically probably what they got. So, of course, they hated his fucking guts. But I'll be honest with you, like, that mentality is it's from a stage perspective. Timeliness is of a virtue. There is a time by which we have to have this production finished. The production will be the way that I envision it, and you are a cog in that machine. That's how he did it, right? And that's very stagey. As an actor trained on the stage, your ego needs to be checked at the door. The more time a director has to spend navigating your bullshit, the less time he has to craft the production into something that is beautiful.
That's what he says. At the time, I was on a strenuous diet, painfully working my way from 300 pounds to 200 pounds. So I decided to immortalize my weight loss and get my bit part by by posing for the before and after pictures. That was literally submerged by letters from fat people who wanted to know where and how they could get Reducto, a fake drug.
Reducto. Oh my god. I used Reducto. Yeah, he just did a diet and exercise program. Like, that's the Reducto, idiots. Paul, why are there no new great directors? There are. Yeah, there are great modern directors. I mean, somebody just asked, like, who's your favorite director? My favorite, like, modern working director is Paul Thomas Anderson. He's still working, still relatively young and on his game. Some of the greatest modern directors, you know, some of the greatest 20th century directors are still directing today. Say what you want about the quality of their films. It's awesome that Spielberg and Scorsese are still out there making films. Say what you want about his movies, but oh man, what's his fucking name? Dude that did Scarface. He's crazy as fuck. But he's still out there making movies. Tarantino. Do you think Tarantino only has one left, dude?
Brian De Palma.
Brian De Palma. No, that's not who I'm thinking of. Oliver Stone. Sorry, I had the wrong movie. Oliver Stone. Well, I think Oliver... No, never mind. I just had the wrong movie. Oliver Stone is who I'm thinking of. I like Quentin and Robert Eggers. Yeah, I mean, that was another great example. Ari Aster is out there, you know, doing his producing and directing thing. So there's a lot of great modern directors. It's just like you have to open your mind to watching more modern films in order to see their stuff. Tarantino said himself he's only doing one more. Okay. I'll believe that when I see that. I just don't... I think a lot of times these dudes have this vision like, man, I've done my whole fucking my life's work is this stuff. And I want to put everything I got left into one last fucking hoorah. And then I'm just going to disappear, man, and be rich. And then I think they get like 6 months into that. And of course, like they keep the door open. Quentin's got a production company, a band apart, right? That's going to keep going forward. He's going to be getting scripts, shit across his desk 24/7. You know he's going to keep that door cracked. I'm retired. I'm whatever retirement looks like for him. I'm living in a fucking cabin in Nebraska somewhere. Right? But every fucking day he's going to be pouring through shit, and it's going to be a matter of time before he's bored and takes an offer or has an idea that he feels like I could do this cheap and easy and different, right? I just don't see a guy like Tarantino walking away, because here's the thing about Tarantino. He's very like relatable in that he was just a fucking movie buff dork in LA working at a video rental shop. Right? And he was just like known for his autistic ability to tell you about every goddamn movie that's ever been made. Specifically, movies from the 60s and 70s and shit. He was just encyclopedic about it. Obsessed would be a word that would not be fucking too strong. I think Tarantino said he's obsessed with having exactly 10 movies. Well, we'll see. I somehow doubt that that'll be that, but we'll see. What?
Oh, one of the Hitchcock pranks.
Yeah.
He had a bet with the prop guy to spend a night tied to a camera, and then he agreed, but Alfred gave him laxatives in his drink. So the next morning he was just crying in his own poop.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Dude was a little bit sadistic. You know what I mean? You lose. You're crying in a puddle of your own shit.
Well, he stayed tied to it.
I guess you win. But at what cost? being a movie director is a lot like being a CIA agent. The only time you retire is your death. I don't know if that's necessarily true. There's a lot of movie directors that, you know, they made a couple movies and they were like, even well-regarded movies, and they're just like, I'm done. I don't think everybody's, but I just feel like because of Tarantino's history, this is his dream. Like, he's a dude, and I'm not saying that, like, he's lucky. He's just a guy that by hook or by crook, he got to live his literal dream in life. He was making cool-ass movies, being a cool-ass, rich-ass, avant-garde film director that was, like, pushing the boundaries and doing the types of movies he loves. He's got all the freedom in the world, like, write whatever script, fund what, like, he's one of those dudes. He could come to you, like, listen, I think a lot of people underestimate because they don't think from the perspective of somebody that wants to make movies for the rest of their life, right? This is not a dude that is like, I'm so passionate about movie making, but all of the things that come across my desk as a director are just like, not quite that. It's a guy that just, like, every time he's got a dream, he just goes and gets it funded and makes it, right? That's why I don't think Tarantino will ever stop making movies until he's physically incapacitated or dead. Because he's a dude that came from straight up slumgullion nothing, right? To, like, now he's a functional billionaire probably in terms of his assets and his properties and his IP and ownership of such. And nobody tells him shit. He makes whatever movie he wants. Like, he could come, like, if he wanted to get a movie funded, he could come, talk to the Weinstein Company or whatever's left of that, right? Miramax. And go like, I want to make a movie about aliens that fuck people up the asshole. And they'd be like, cool. How much money you need? Gonna need about 180 million to start. Probably another 200 million in reserve. Done. What else? You know, like, he could just do that. You know, not many people in the world could say that. And so that's why I don't think he's ever gonna, like, why would you ever walk away from that kind of power as a person that loves film? It doesn't make no sense. As Hollywood operates on nepotism and talent is secondary. If you're not part of the tribe, you can't get in. That's not true, but it is true to an extent, right? Knowing somebody who knows somebody in the business gives you a leg up, but that's not just Hollywood. That's any business.
Yeah, like back to Hitchcock, he tried to make his daughter a film star, but she just never really took off,
right,
despite him putting her in his stuff.
Right. She just didn't have it. And I agree with, like, not him, but the rest of the world. She just doesn't have, like, if you look at contemporary film stars around her age, she just ain't got it.
And wasn't it Sofia Coppola? Like, her acting was just,
her acting utterly ruined The Godfather Part 3. Yeah. She was nepo babied into that as an actress for some reason. Now, she's a pretty brilliant director, but at that time in her life, I think she wanted to be an actress. She was nepo babied into a role that was incredibly complex and tough.
Like, pretty central. It wasn't like just
absolutely central. It's a central love story of that drives the plot of the film, right? And she's the daughter of Michael Corleone grown up, and she's awful. Just camera aware, like, in the worst way. Like, she's on camera all the time, and, like, the way she delivers lines is just robotic, stilted nonsense, right? But probably helped her career in the long run because she's now a fucking super successful director. So
he just made a poor choice entertaining her acting.
Did he? Yeah. I mean, from the perspective of a fan of the fucking, but, like, in terms of her career, I don't think it hurt her. I think it probably put her name out there in a way that allowed her to trade on her name more than if she, and it was a means to an end. She found what she should be doing. which is being
I
a
guess it gave her
director.
some perspective on how to deal with actors as a director.
Well, think about that too.
Yeah.
What better way? I'm sorry, I think I just fucking grabbed the last one. What better way to learn how to be a director than to be in a fucking film as an actor, right? Especially like a top level film.
Yeah.
Like I think it's possible. I mean, look at the big break he's taken between what was it, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and now, right? Like the dude is known for taking a long time to conceptualize and shoot and film his movies. I could see him taking a couple, maybe even five years off. But we're gonna all hear about it. The scuttlebutt will come out. Tarantino's doing a new film coming out of retirement. I just don't see it happening unless, like I said, he dies or gets some sort of condition that would prevent him from functioning in the way he needs to do a film. I just don't see under any other circumstances the dude being able to give up the powers. Be like, I don't know. Just as a guy that loves entertainment and loves acting and has like this idea in his head, like, oh man, in a perfect world, I'd love to direct a little movie, maybe direct a bunch of movies. Like being handed a career like that and then just going like, yeah, I made enough money. It's really not about the money for him and hasn't been for like fucking 3 decades now, right? The dude does it because it's just so powerful. It's such a powerful medium to be able to just, and the position that he has is powerful as well from a creative standpoint. So I just don't see him walking from that. His name is gold in the industry. Why would you walk away from that? Yeah, I mean, I think as a guy that understands that, like, there's a freshness date on directors, he doesn't want to be one of these directors that people are talking about, like, all right, Tarantino fell off, because he's never been, nobody's ever said that about any of his films, credibly. Right? And maybe he doesn't want that. Maybe that's behind this absurd idea to, like, retire and give away his power and stuff. And maybe it'll be true. Maybe as he gets older, he'll lose a little bit of his stuff. I just don't see that, though. But, maybe that's... I really don't want to, like, over-psychoanalyze the guy, of course. He would probably have a different answer to that, but I just don't see it, man. He's just like... Somebody gave him the Infinity Gauntlet and he's bored of using it. Like, here's something that literally functionally allows you to create a universe and destroy it at will. I'm bored of doing that. Like, what?
Donna, what are you doing over here?
Who knows? Captain Snuffleupatrops. Nope. I haven't heard of anything about it. I don't want to talk about UBI right now, homie. I'm just going to end this. Have a good day. Talk to you guys later. Peace.